Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Vasyata Deshantarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Kora Haribam, 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 Nitai Kora Haribam. His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Iskan Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Anantako Vaishnavrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'm going to read from my phone and on Bhagavad Gita. Everyone's welcome to. Is there Bhagavad Gita's there? Yes. Oh, there is. Yeah. And some Bhagavad Gita. So if you want to read along, or if you have your own, we're in a very exciting part of the Bhagavad Gita at the moment. It's the second chapter, verses 11. And I have to say that these are one of the only verses that I ever learned by heart. Still think I know them. I hope I do. They're. Great. Chapter 2. They're very important because the point when Krishna actually starts to speak. I mean, I think he's made a couple of sentences before, but he hasn't really gone into teaching mode yet. But now he's getting into teaching mode. He's really starting to really start to speak strongly. But it's quite interesting how it's quite interesting the way Krishna speaks. Okay, we'll start at 2:11. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Asochanam Vasochastvam Pragyavadam Chabashase Gata Sanagata Samchanam Sochanti Panditaha. So in the translation, Supreme Personality of Godhead said, you ready? Yeah. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual eyes are open, my eyes for the truth of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. I just want to start with that first verse because I think Krishna is speaking so eloquently. You know, I just felt that the way that he spoke this was very powerful. While speaking learned words, you were mourning for what was not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. you know, the way he says this, those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. He doesn't come out and say, Arjuna, you're a fool. What are you talking about? My God, what stupid things have you been thinking? Krishna is so eloquent the way he presents it. I'm not even sure of the exact translation. Obviously, it's from Sanskrit into English. So I'm sure even the Sanskrit is even more poetic in that sense. But we have it in English, so the meaning is important more than the Sanskrit. But you could easily then, at the same time, actually forget what Krishna's trying to say. You might not take it in, the heaviness of what he's actually saying. So, to understand that, we have our Guru, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, at the very beginning, just lest there's any mistakes, Prabhupada makes it really clear what Krishna is saying. Because Krishna is so polite and eloquent, and I'm coming from that kind of a background myself. But, I might miss out on what Krishna is saying without really understanding it. But what Prabhupada says is, the Lord at once took the position of the teacher, this is in the purport, and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, you are talking like a learned man, but you do not know who is learned. One who knows what is the body and what is the soul does not lament it for any stage of the body, neither in the living nor in the dead condition. So I want to ask a question. What is Krishna saying? What is Prabhupada saying here? He's saying, or what is Krishna saying? He's saying to Arjuna, you were speaking like a learned man. So what did Arjuna say to make Krishna say that you were speaking like a learned man? What sort of things was Arjuna saying? Can anyone remember? Yes.
Arjuna, he had five reasons why he wasn't going to fight.
Yes.
So they were all based on Dharma and Artha Shastra.
Yeah.
So he had 5 reasons why he wasn't going to do
that. Why he wasn't going to fight, yeah.
So they were all based on authorized scriptures.
Right.
But they were all pertaining to the material world.
Yes.
Dharma and Artha.
Yeah. So Arjuna was actually giving explanations based on this world, basically, and all the dharma that we're supposed to follow in this world. And this is a very important point because, Bhagavatam is very profound in that sense. It's explaining to us how we live in the world and giving us great instruction how we should live in the world. But simultaneously, you'll find that it's saying, yeah, but give it all up, Forget about your family, forget about just do your duty and fight. And actually beyond that now is surrender unto me. Forget about all these other things, all these so-called duties in the world. So that's quite a difficult, lesson to take in that sense. It's not, we have to be, Prabhupada says, we have to be very intelligent to know when to understand what to apply at what particular time. Like for instance, at a particular stage of your life, if you are, say for instance, you just got married or something, or you're thinking about, having a family and developing and having a job and having, a house and all of those things, which you need in that particular stage in your life. You will, I won't say err, but you will lean more on the side of your worldly duties because you have to. Because if you don't, you will completely become, sure, I'm just going to chant all day. It doesn't matter if my children have any food or not, I'm sure Krishna will look after them. You cannot just do those things. You have to be very much aware of what you have to do in the world. But Bhagavatam is so powerful that it gives us also that there is beyond that, so that we don't forget, ultimately, this is only a short journey. We've only got a small amount of time here. And we have to build up our spiritual strength while here, so that at the point of death, we can actually go straight to the spiritual world and won't be somehow attracted to moral duties here in this world. Does everyone kind of get that? Dharma and, yeah.
How do we differentiate duties from dharma, or does all duty come under dharma for us?
How do we, how do we, well, duties and dharma are generally on the same kind of platform in that sense. They're the things which we do in this world that are necessary. I mean, there's other definitions, but I would take this particular one. But beyond the dharma, Krishna says at the 1866, Sarva Dharma, all the dharmas, Parichaja, just give up all different varieties of dharma and just surrender unto me. So that's going straight all the way through Bhagavad Gita, coming out at the end. This is what you have to do. But at the same time, he's telling Arjuna that he has to fight, So he's telling him in time, place, and circumstance what he has to do at this particular time. So that's why again, coming back to that point, we have to build up our spiritual intelligence so that we can act in this world properly according to Dharma and according to our propensities and all of that, while at the same time building our spiritual acumen to be able to differentiate.
What was your question?
How do we differentiate? Is there a difference between duties and dharma, or does all? When I say duties, it is duties about that we have to do in the material world. So I heard that dharma, the only dharma that we have is to discover the self. That people say, or Krishna, becoming totally Krishna conscious. But how do we balance? Is there a need to balance between the material, or how do we balance, or how do we recognize, or how do we prioritize between the material duties and one's own dharma, or are they totally different?
Wow, that's not. You kind of answered your question, because you were very clearly defined. In scripture, it says there's Naimittika Dharma and Nitya Dharma. So Nitya Dharma means the hearing and chanting about Krishna. It's like Nitya Dharma, eternal activities that will never stop. So Nitya Dharma would be hearing about Bhakti Yoga, hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, serving Krishna, the 9 processes of Bhakti. So that's called Nitya Dharma. And the soul will do that forever. Yes? And then there's Naimittika Dharma, which means occasional duties according to your specific body. So then you're a soul who has a Nitya Dharma to God, but now you're in a body temporarily. So this body has duties. So you do those duties with the consciousness and with the direction and the way Krishna would like them done. And therefore those duties become non-different from Bhakti Yoga. So you're doing your daily activities, like for instance your activity might be to cook. That's a duty you have to have. But so then you cook things that Krishna likes, yes, and you offer it to Krishna, yes. So you're bringing Krishna in. You're bringing your Nitya Dharma into your Naimittika Dharma. So then it becomes spiritualized. So that's how you don't balance. What's Prabhupada calls it, dovetailing. You take like on a dove. The dove's tail goes like this. So you gradually put your activities from material into a spiritual. So you don't have to differ, as you did, right? There's 2 categories. And the more you bring Krishna into your worldly duties, the more they become spiritualized. That's my understanding.
Thank you, Prabhu. I have another question. So suppose if I'm not sure about my duties, if I have to choose my duties, is there something like choosing duties? Or we come born with few duties, like suppose if I'm born into a family, I have certain duties that come along with it. Or do we choose duties, or we have to choose duties?
Yeah, like for instance, you're a soul, right? But you're born in a female body. Yes? So then there's natural processes that a female body would go through, right? That a male body can't do. For instance, bearing children. That a male can't do that, but a woman can do it. So that would indicate that that's a duty ascribed to that body, yes? So then there's certain natural duties according to a natural body. So you can choose, that's what that body has. Those duties accordingly. And then there's then there are scriptures, for instance, Manu, we have Manu here, and then there's a book who's named after Manu Samhita. So there's like you have a father, he has a father, he has a father, but who's the original father of all the men? His name is Manu. Then Manu, the original, he gave like a law book by which men can act and which women can act. So then there's duty for men and duties for women, of course, yes. But as Krishna says in the 4th chapter, that this knowledge has been broken and hidden from the people. So people don't know what their duties are anymore. But there are duties, there are codes, and if we figure them out and we act accordingly, then we'll be very peaceful and happy.
Yeah, I was thinking that, family duties, I know this is specifically, sometimes in India you find that you have your duties in family, and there's so much expectation and so on that you do this and you do that and whatever. And then you kind of, you have things that you're inclined to do, and sometimes they kind of cross. You're trying to work out which specific duty should I actually, there can be a kind of a conflict sometimes. What happens that mainly one important aspect is having a spiritual guide, because the spiritual guide is able to is able to give kind of instruction on those areas as well. But that you have to develop faith in the spiritual guide as well, so that also takes a little time too. But in the meantime, there is, as we're doing here, we're discussing the what it says in the scripture and all those things, and they're kind of the questions that Arjuna is asking as well. So scripture generally also does talk to you at different times, which will give you the impetus from the super soul within, even to make the different decisions on that basis. I'll move on just a little bit, because I wanted to just speak a little bit more on the verse, or just speak what Prabhupada's saying about in the specific situation. As explained in latter chapters, it was Shishi Panchatattva ki, most beautiful Panchatattva ki. Hare Krishna. As explained in later chapters, it will be clear that knowledge means to know matter and spirit. Okay? That's kind of an interesting one. Knowledge means to know matter and spirit, and the controller of both. And Arjuna argued that religious principles should be given more importance. This is one of the things that Arjuna was saying, one of the things he was saying earlier, is that religious principles should be given more importance than politics or sociology. But he did not know that knowledge of matter, soul, and supreme is even more important than religious formulas. And because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have posed himself as a very learned man. And again, I just want to go back to the things that what did Arjuna think of? Where were the things that he said that were more important? Why he shouldn't fight?
Number one was compassion.
Yeah, compassion for.
Well, he had compassion for the body, and for the body of his family members.
Right, now that's a good one, because he was going to fight these other people, but they happened to be his family members, so he was going to actually, fight them. So, Prabhupada says in the purport that he was actually, he was a devotee, basically, because he felt he was soft-hearted. He didn't want to kill his relatives, but his relatives were hell-bent on killing him. And the other thing was, so that showed the difference, number one. So a second thing he said, that one important thing he said that about what about family ties and future, and what would happen if he killed all the relatives and all the elder members of the family were killed.
Is that women and children will be abandoned?
Yes.
Then they will be taking advantage, so some evil people will take advantage of abandoned women and children.
Yeah.
And they'll be corrupted.
Yes, yes, that was it. And then he also said about the older people in society, because this goes to the grandfather. So they're the ones who kind of, they keep the whole family traditions going. And family traditions means that, in the specific instance that Arjuna gave, was that there's a thing called Shraddha, whereby you pray for your and you offer pinda and water for your ancestors. And when you do that, they can somehow or other get a human body, or get a spiritual body, whereas they may not have reached the proper level in their life. So they have their relatives who are praying for them, so that they will make further progress. So therefore, it will mean that the future will be, all that will stop, because there won't be any elder members in society to help. So they were three important things that we mentioned here. So Arjuna was making these arguments, which seem like really good arguments, isn't it? I mean, they're good arguments on a lot of levels. But Krishna is that's why Krishna is saying, you are speaking like a learned man, but you are mourning for one is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So it's a real powerful punch the way that's set up. It's very dramatic, Arjuna's on maybe isn't, but he's because it's very dramatic already. He's in the middle of a battlefield, and there's and he's about to kill these people on the other side, and they're about to kill him, which is worse, And so he has to make up his mind, and then he starts to wobble, in that situation. He doesn't know what to do. So then, but he says what seems to be the right things. A lot of people actually, when they came to the Hare Krishna movement originally, they agreed more with Arjuna than they did with Krishna. They thought Arjuna's arguments were better initially, and because he seems to be saying some correct things, and he is saying correct things. But as Krishna, or as Prabhupada saying here in the purport, that because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have posed himself as a very learned man. So he did not know that knowledge of matter and spirit of the soul, of the soul and the supreme is more important than religious formularies. Because why would that be? Anyone give us an answer? Why would that be more important? Knowledge of matter and the spirit and the supreme. Why would that be more important than religious formularies? Anyone make a guess at that? Why is it more important? Okay, give an answer. And the answer is because the Supreme is the source of all those religious formulas anyway. He's the person who put them into practice, who set them up. So therefore, if he chooses to, not to apply those particular formulas at that time, then that's even more important. So this is what we're finding here, that Krishna is saying to the people that actually, in this particular instance, no, I've already decided the outcome of this battle. I know what's going to happen. So Krishna has a much deeper understanding of what's right and what's wrong. And I'm reading a section in the Bhagavatam at the moment where Bhishma Dev is lying on the bed of arrows, and Yudhishthira comes to ask him what is the duty, specifically because Yudhishthira was after killing, or felt himself that he was guilty of killing all these people on the battlefield just so that he could be king. So he's feeling a huge amount of guilt. But Bhishma kind of put him right on that. And one of the things he says, that no one can understand the plan of the Lord. We cannot understand it. So therefore, in order for us to function properly in this life, we have to be aware of that principle, that there is a higher power at work. And this is what Arjuna is doing, he's kind of trying to come up with this idea from his own, from his own understanding of what he's learned. The higher idea is that, well, actually, I've tried what I can, but Krishna is deciding what's happening. And if I surrender unto Krishna, then I will know I'm rightly situated. And I'm doing the right thing then. So that's the power in this. One who knows that this is actually learned, and for him there is no cause for lamentation, regardless of the condition of the material body. So the next verse, maybe we'll read this together. It's 2:12. Anyone who's got a copy that's in, we'll read the Sanskrit. Na tvevaham jatu na sham na tvam neme janadipa na chaiva na bhavishamaha sarve vayam atah param Translation. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. And again, this is like it's like the clouds opening and this incredible voice appears and starts to say this incredibly important statement that we're all eternal and we're all individual. So that's like our whole philosophy, and that's like a dictation from Krishna. So if we become very fortunate in this lifetime, we will actually just accept those words. We can apply our intelligence to it. We can try to suss it out. We can try to find: is there any person who never existed ever, or is there, do we live forever? We can kind of speculate away for a long time and try to find some other kind of approach to that comment by Krishna, or we can just accept it, and we'll be very, very happy if we get to the stage and we can just accept it, and because it's like the alphabet. It goes through the whole of our philosophy. It's always there. So I'm just going to read Prabhupada's purport in this. In the Vedas, in the Katha Upanishad, as well as in the Svetara Upanishad, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reaction of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by his plenary portions, alive in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. And there's a famous verse, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitanam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidutati Kamam Tamat Nashtam Yo Vipashanti Tiras Tesham Shanti Shastati Metaresham. Even if you can only grasp one aspect of that, one aspect of it says that Krishna is the supreme eternal among all eternals. That's another definition of Krishna. It's just something that we can kind of grasp onto. So Krishna is saying that we're all eternal. Never there was a time. So you can again picture it on the battlefield. Krishna is talking to Arjuna. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings. Never in the future will ever any of us cease to be. So this is just pure knowledge coming from Krishna. We can't come up with that knowledge ourselves. Why? Because our lifespan is only this particular life. That's this temporary life. So what can we know? We have to take this information from a much greater source. So Krishna is that source, and he's giving us this information. And if we can take this information, we will be eternally happy. And as Prabhupada said in the previous purport, we will attain actual peace and tranquility, and which is an actual very powerful state. Okay, is there any other any comments? Sundar Prabhu, do you have anything to add on that, or any other comments on the purport?
Yeah, in Srila Prabhupada, this is quite a long purport, and the reason is because Srila Prabhupada goes into a philosophy that is present within everyone's thought process. It's called Mayavad theory. So there's if everybody in the room was to have a TV above their head, and you could see there's a screen above everyone's head, then there'll be two main philosophies that will be there. And there will be, in the West, there will be Nirvisesha, which means I am this body, and there's no soul. That's like science. And then the other philosophy would be, I am a soul, but I'm God. I am the enjoyer. So that's Nirvisesha and Sunyavadi. So Nirvisesha means Mayavad philosophy, which means I think I am God, basically. I am a soul, but when the body dies, I become spiritual energy. I don't remain an individual, I just become spiritual energy, part of God energy. That's one idea that's in everyone's head. And the other one is There's no soul and just chemicals in a body. And there's no karma, there's no reincarnation. So these two philosophies are Swami Prabhupada. He came to this Western world to inspect the television above your head, whatever is there. Then he wants to put a different program there. The program is that you are not the body, and you are not God, but you are a soul inside the body, an eternal servant of God. So here Krishna is saying that. He's saying, never was there a time when I did not exist. That means Krishna. Nor you, that means the Atma. And nor these other kings, it means all the other Atmas. So he's saying there's me, you Arjuna, and all these Atmas, and you're all eternal. That's the significance of this verse. So with this one verse, he's taking out these two philosophies from our consciousness. You're not the body, take that out. And you're not God, you're eternally an individual, take that out. And then the only thing that's left is bhakti, service to God. So that's what the significance, one of the significant points about this verse, to remove the impersonal and atheistic mindset and allow us to see ourselves as servants of God. That's my understanding.
That's very nice. Any other points to that? Any questions? I would advise then, if you can, to take 5 or 10 minutes out this evening, if not this evening, tomorrow morning, early, and read that purport, because Prabhupada gives a very interesting definition, authoritative definition, and Prabhupada in the purport explains why what Krishna is saying is so important. It's a little technical, but it's the best thing to do with one's time, is to spend time with these purports and just to just let them soak in. And as I said, I was just thinking of from the timing at the moment, and we want, that's 212 purport, yeah. We want to get onto the next, because we've separate 3 other verses we want to deal with. And here's the next powerful statement coming from Krishna. We can all read it together. 2:13. Dehi nosmin yata dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastacha namuyati. Translation. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So, yeah, I remember doing that with I was teaching a Gurukul class one time. I was them all to say, and have it all really in a very melodious way. I certainly hope that it all sung through, but it takes some time, like even now, I kind of have to meditate on that verse as well, just to continually, because even when you get up in the morning, the different modes are taking over, the modes of ignorance, passion, ignorance, meaning. So, but that's why we read and chant in the morning time early, because it gets us, like, have a quick shower. In the temple you go to the program, but if you're at home, maybe you just read or chant, and that gets you kind of onto the spiritual platform again. Get you kind of focusing. So this other point about a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So we have to get to the point of being a sober person, and therefore we won't be bewildered by the change. So what is the change? Not your question. What? Yeah, but what change are you specifically talking about here?
The body.
At the point of
death.
Death. The point of death. Yes. There's a great example of what that is like for a spiritual person. I was reading it there recently. When Narada Muni, everyone knows about Narada, isn't it? Or heard about Narada? He's a great sage, basically. But Narada was, he became very realized by the help of some great yogis. And then when he was very young, his mother died at 5 years old. But because he had been preached to by these great elevated saints, he was able to take it in his stride. And actually, he went and sought spiritual life, even from that very, very early age. But eventually he came and had an experience of the Supreme actually appearing to him. God actually appeared to him and spoke to him. But then what happened is that he said, I will not appear to you again in this lifetime. Because why? This is an interesting point. Could anyone answer me this question? Why God appeared to Narada only once and then told him that he wouldn't appear again? I won't ask them now. Any ideas? Chaitanya? It increases because, Narada had this real taste when he saw Krishna. He was there with Krishna. And then Krishna went away, so it went, where are you gone? He completely was disturbed. But for the rest of his life, though, he was always wanting to see Krishna. And so Krishna did that to increase his desire to see him again. And this is the beauty of spiritual life. It's counterintuitive, Sometimes you think, to enjoy, I need more and more and more and more. But with Krishna is way beyond. He gives a certain glimpse, and then he may remove himself, and then we're wanting more and more and more. But the reason is that then we will get the more and more at the point of death. And the example I was giving of Narada, because when Narada died, it's explained. But when a normal person dies, they will then go into a body that they're subtly created during this life. It's called karma. The karma, in other words, we're in this life now because of where we have been previously, because of how we've acted previously. We have it said that there's a certain type of eye, ear, nose, tongue that is grouped about the mind. That's all being dictated to by our previous karma. It's so accurate. It's unbelievably accurate. I got an eye test today over in Specsavers. I will be wearing glasses here soon. But they showed this picture of the back of the eye, and what was going on. I was just flabbergasted. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. This incredibly complex, item of the eye, how it was created, what it was. And I couldn't help but start, I won't say the word preaching, but discussing with the optometrist. I said, do you think this happened by chance? Do you think all of these complex arrangements just happened somehow or the other? She didn't take the bait, she was just being professional, shall we say. But the thing being, though, is that such a complex thing in every one of us, not only ourselves, but even in little insects, the creepy crawlies, whatever, going around the floor, they have a vision. Birds, they've all got eyes, and those eyes are so complex. And it's said here that those eyes are chosen by us. We subtly, it's so, so accurate, that we get exactly the karma that we're meant to get by the laws of nature. So that shows you how powerful Krishna is. But at the point of death, so a normal person will kind of reap that karma in that sense. That they will normally go into the next body which they've subtly created. But a devotee, it's given the example like a flash of lightning. When a flash of lightning happens, things become illuminated. So when a devotee leaves his body, his next birth is immediate. It's not that there's any kind of pain. It just goes straight into a new. It's like a lightning flash, and then the next place is there. It's so powerful because you don't see too much lightning in Ireland, but you've often seen it. Suddenly there's a flash of lightning. Everything kind of brightens up. So it's like that. So that's how a spiritualist will leave the body, like that. So it's quite interesting. And I'm just going to skip on to the next verse. It's 1854. It's an important verse. And okay, we'll read it together. Is that okay? Matra Sparshas to Kampera, Shitoshna Sukadukata, Agamapai Nityas, Tangstatikshava Bharata. And the translation is the O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. The reason I wanted to get onto that verse, and rushed ahead without reading the purport, is there's a difference between that verse and the previous 3 verses. Can anyone tell me what that difference is? And I promise you I'll bring you a burfi next Sunday if you get the next.
How he dresses him? How he dresses him?
Yes, not completely though. There's something.
Perfect, yes, perfect.
Yes, in Russian.
Half of it.
Something more. It's to do with the content. The first 3 are kind of different than the content in that one, and it shows us though the importance that this Krishna's just speaking originally, but it's importance that he puts on this particular verse, and it's something that's a theme which will go throughout the Bhagavad Gita: happiness and distress, fame and infamy, honor and dishonor, heat and cold, opposites, and remaining even-minded amidst them. So that one is more like a how to put it, a moral response. How you respond to your environment, how you respond to the different things that are affecting you. So it's not in that sense philosophical. The first 3 were more philosophical. You're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. It's more philosophical. Never was there a time that I don't exist, nor you, nor all these things, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. And the next one is what's 2:13? Sorry.
The body is changing.
The body
Is changing.
Yes, it's kind of philosophical information, And then this next thing goes on to more like moral philosophy, if you know what I mean.
It's also explaining how to practically realize the difference between your body, the body, the mind, and the soul.
Yes. Yeah.
So in the first verse he says, look, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a soul, I'm a soul, they're all souls. And just look, the body is changing, but you're not changing. And the way to realize is that when you see happiness and distress, heat and cold, just tolerate it, and you realize you're not happy, you're not distressed, you're not hot, you're not cold, you're not good, you're not bad, you're something beyond those dualities. But the way to realize that is to practice tolerating it. So like if it's cold, if you can tolerate the cold, many sadhus in India, right, when they're cold, they'll submerge themselves in water. They go to the Himalayas, some sadhus, just to learn this tapasya. They go up to the coldest part in the winter, and they submerge themselves up to the neck, and they practice tolerating and meditating, controlling the breath, and then they realize, I'm not cold. I'm not the coldness. So what am I? And then in summer they surround themselves with hot fire, and they say, I'm not the heat. I'm not the cold, I'm not the heat. I am something separate from the sense perception. So like Manipur is saying here, Krishna is giving a practical instruction how to realize that you're not the body and you're not the mind also. Yeah.
It's kind of it's really behavior, how to behave. I was just thinking this morning, and I had I don't know, something kind of was a little worrying me, and then then I kind of initially let my mind kind of dwell on it. Of course, that's not the best thing to do because it kind of makes it kind of worse. And then a little while later, then I kind of got a kind of an answer to that, and I thought, oh yeah, that's good. Now I feel much better, But then a little while later again, I kind of realized that Well, I shouldn't have felt so bad anyway at the beginning when I was feeling down, nor should I have felt such a relief thinking that I was better. It was kind of like it was just even-minded between the two. So I find that that's a good thing to kind of practice, just to check it because, it will happen quite a lot, and you know, you can get even angry about things. Uh, you get very passive about things as well. This the opposite. But this whole idea of being, equipoise, even-minded, it's something which is a very important practice in spiritual life. So that you can actually get the messages coming through from Krishna. Devoid of all of those different, ups and downs, whatever that happen. I'm just going to. Is there any other comment, any other question? We never got to the 15th. Oh, maybe I'll just say one more thing on the 15th verse, because the 15th verse actually it kind of reinforces the 14th verse. I'll just read: "O best among men, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress, and is steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation." So that's the 5 verses today. Good if you get time to go back over them and read Prabhupada's purports, because that's part of what we're doing here in the class, is just to focus on these purports, because they just are they're dynamic. Krishna's dynamic, and then Prabhupada descriptions of what Krishna is saying are dynamic. It's even more shuka, even more sweet. So very important to spend a bit of time on those, and just to take them even slowly and just meditate on each thing until you understand it. There's no point in rushing ahead and get, I want to read the next one. So that's why we're only taking 5 verses at a time, so you can spend time on each. So just take one last comment. Yeah.
So one who's not disturbed by happiness and distress, but like when we're doing the Kirtan, when we're chanting, when we're doing Harina, we're happy, we're ecstatic.
Yeah. Yes. That's the only exception. It's the happiness during Kirtan is that's bliss, and that's the natural state of the soul. That's like the soul in the spiritual dimension. That's beyond this world, like we said at the start. And yeah, so the main thing to do is keep on doing Harinam forever, whatever, and ever, and you'll be ever blissful. The um, when the kirtan stops, problems.
When Kirtan starts, problem stops. When Kirtan stops, problem starts.
Yeah, problem starts. Yeah, yeah. So that's the message. So I think that's the good message to start. I'm going to ask Sundari Thakur to begin some kirtan.
Before we do Kirtan, whoever is here, our Bhagavad Gita class group is growing, I can see. If you can take a picture with everyone, I'll post that on the temple Facebook page to encourage more people to come next week and the week after.
Yeah.
Just here.
Is everyone okay with that?
Whoever wants will come here with Govinda. We'll take a picture with you holding your Bhagavad Gita.
Don't have to, but if you
don't have to do it, but whoever.
have to, but if you don't, you won't let you.
Or maybe when we sit here.
It's good, like everyone hold their Bhagavad Gita in their hand.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Harinam Sankirtan ki. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ramo, Ramo, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ramo, Ramo, Hare Hare,
Ramo, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Someone new. No mind.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste,
Harinam tomorrow starts at 2:30. So we're meeting here 2:15, and then going in Harinam at 2:30. And then the Radhastami festival starts at what time? 5 o'clock. So Harinam until.
Harinam.
You're welcome.
Welcome. Good move.
Good morning.